Blue Maga, make America godly again. We'll be covering 8 topics. 1, Jesus and the Christian faith. 2, the Ten Commandments. 3, biblical sexual orientation. 4, the sanctity of all life. 5, laws that protect, not control. 6, free speech. 7, MLK nonviolent protest. 8, respecting the American flag. Hello, this is Brother Kevin. I'd like to welcome you to Blue Maga, Make America Godly Again. Now, actually, I really am not the only person that uses this term Blue Maga, but at the time I didn't hear about it, but I just thought it'd be a good way to be able to support the Christians to stand up for their faith, whether they're Democrat or Republican. I myself was raised Democrat, but my party changed so that I fell more into a Republican or conservative category. But I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm really here to talk about the Ten Commandments. As you know, there are 8 particular things that I want to cover in most of these. Sometimes it takes 2 videos to do them. And today we want to talk about the Ten Commandments. And I want to focus on a few of them to let you know that when God makes commandment, it is not there to control you. It is there to protect you. Now, you can take the opinion that it's controlling. I have no problem with that. The reason why is because if you have that opinion, I'm sure you don't have an understanding of why God gave the commandments. You see, there's not just the moral code of the law, which is a whole bunch of laws, but the Ten Commandments are the heart of the moral law. Okay. And then there are ceremonial laws, your feast days, and then how you offer up sacrifices and things of that nature, or the law of the Nazarene, and different things like that. These are ceremonial laws, okay? But they all get canceled out if you do not keep the Ten Commandments or the moral code. Now, the Ten Commandments can be summed up in the first, or the great commandment, which is to love the Lord thy God with all thy mind, soul, heart, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And as Paul says, for love does no ill to its neighbor. In other words, keeping the great commandment fulfills the Ten Commandment. It fulfills all of the law. So notice how in the great commandment, it doesn't say thou shalt not. The great commandment is to love the Lord and to love your fellow man. And that's what, if that's the heart of the law, okay, then it could not be to control you. It's there to deal with behavior that will destroy you. The reason why this is so important to know is because we're living in very violent times. You know, in a lot of our major cities now, there's such contention. I don't justify ICE for a lot of the things that they do, but I tell you what, I'm very understanding, because when people are in your face threatening your life, that can cause you to take other measures. And I certainly don't agree with violent protests, because I believe in MLK protests. Now, there's a lot of people now going out talking about Martin Luther King and the things he did, and that's fine if you believe that he was a wicked man. I certainly disagree with him on many counts, but I'll tell you this: God gave him that ability to just march and just to tell the truth about having, equal rights to all Americans, particularly Black Americans at that time, and it worked. And that's the reason why I want to share with you the MLK protest, which I'll do in another video, is because we have a responsibility to love one another and to care for one another. If I take action and it means violence, I'm already breaking the Ten Commandments, and I'm already breaking the Great Commandments once I disregard my neighbor. I've heard people come on TV or on video, YouTube, whatever, or some short, and they'll say they want to kill all liberals, or they want to kill all conservatives, mostly coming from the liberal side. Okay. Now I see. Now I tell you, the conservatives say some things that I believe are wrong, But I would say that the liberal side is definitely more vicious. If you count it, pound for pound, the viciousness is coming from the left side, period. And I'm not trying to deny that. That's just a fact. When have you ever heard me say, oh, I want to destroy all liberals and I'm a conservative? When have you ever heard me say that? Because you won't hear a God-fearing Christian that is conservative say that. Because the gospel is to all. If I start hating somebody, I'm breaking the law. I'm certainly not flowing in the spirit. And this whole moral responsibility as well as serving God is part of what the Ten Commandments were about. Because thou shalt not covet kept you away from doing something ill to your neighbor, but like stealing something that he has, or like ruining your life trying to compete with him to have the same thing he has. So God put that in there. God put in, you shall not commit adultery so that you would not be covetous of another man's wife and commit acts of immorality. Okay. And that's why those laws were made. You should not kill. Obvious. All these laws are designed to preserve. Honor your mother and father. Why is that so important? Because honoring your mother and father says that you recognize God's first line of authority, kids, teenagers. God's first line of authority is mom and dad. And if you disobey mom and dad, you more than likely are already disobeying God. It's a good measuring stick. Now, I'm going to have another video where I get into more details, but right now I want you to stop seeing the Ten Commandments as against society. It isn't. It's there to preserve. And I want to make it clear, and I get into this more in the second video. The Ten Commandments is not the same thing as receiving Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And on the next video, I'm going to get into that extensively. Until then, God bless you. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you on another episode of Blue Maga.